Good morning, everyone. Lee Henson here, President and Founder of Agile Dad, and welcome to today's edition of the Daily Stand-Up. Without any further ado, let's get started. Today I wanted to discuss with you a recap, if you will. Last week on Friday, I had the wonderful opportunity of presenting at the PMI Tampa Bay's conference and symposium with regard to project management. And what I can tell you is they really had some incredible people there presenting, and they had a really full house. It was just such a great experience. It was good to see old friends. It was great to meet new friends. And it was a wonderful opportunity for me to share a topic that I'm passionate about, but I don't get to share and talk about as often as I'd like. I was talking about the potential to help your business grow, but not just helping it grow as in grow financially or grow in agility, but I talked about how do you literally become an innovative disruptor? And I think in order to be able to do that, you need to start by changing from a fixed to a growth mindset. So that begs the question, how do you get from the point where you believe that failure is the limit of my abilities to the point where you believe failure is an opportunity to grow, and you can challenge yourself to grow and to improve and to do things better? And I think it starts by telling yourself a different story. You know, there's great power in a story that we tell, whether it's a story that we tell to each other or a story we tell to others. When we come across, a difficult challenge, how we react to those challenges is based on our story. It's based on what we know. It's based on what we've experienced. It's based on our knowledge. And I think this begs the belief that, and I hate to use the word belief again, but our actions are a true manifestation of what we believe. It really is. So the first step to enable a growth mindset is to learn to catch yourself in the moment. Make a choice. Stand by your decision. Fixed mindset limits us, and it's often based on a bias, a personal bias or a cognitive bias that others have elected to see about us and not on what we truly believe about ourselves. If we can look in the mirror and make that change, that's going to help us really grow. It's going to help us to get to the point where we can personally grow. I guess the key here is do not underestimate the skills and strengths that you do have. Always strive to do more and better than you ever have before. Don't be afraid to embrace and make changes. I think what it all boils down to really is that with the fixed mindset, intelligence becomes static. It remains where it is. In a growth mindset, intelligence can continue to be developed, right? It leads to a desire to learn and a tendency to do more, to embrace challenges, to persist in the face of setbacks, to see effort as a path to mastery, to learn from criticism, to find lessons and inspiration in the success of others, and to tell their story and not be afraid to stand up for what's best and for what makes sense. Next, I think you need to set learning goals, and that's, do that instead of performance goals, right? Commit that you're going to learn something new every day. The best way that you can do this is to seek to learn, not to prove yourself and what you know to everyone else. Find something that you can learn from. Find something foundationally that you can plant. Focus on the process that leads to the desired outcome, right? Don't sit here and drive yourself crazy. I tell people all the time that there's a path to get to that vision, and sometimes that path takes you down a road that you may not expect, right? Look for continuous small improvements. Those add up over time. Choose a path where hard work is rewarded, where effort makes sense, where you can deliberately practice and be persistent in the things that you believe and that lead you to success. You have to also come to the conclusion that success does not happen overnight. This isn't a one and done thing. You need to really work hard to pave a clear vision of what you're trying to do. You have to work hard to gain a better understanding of how you can leverage all the tools around you and you can be successful. I think that if you choose how you'll execute your strategy based on your vision, you'll learn that those two work very closely together and they really are a tandem pair. I think that you have to think about your skills, the things that concern you, the level of effort you put into things, the challenges you face, how you handle feedback, how you handle mistakes. Each of those are going to help you on a path to get a better understanding of how you can move and transition from that fixed mindset to the growth mindset. We also have to learn to capitalize on failures. Now, last year I had an opportunity to talk about failure at this conference, and it went over really well. It was awesome. We all had a blast talking about it. But I think in this session, I really got to say that failure teaches us what success can. If we can learn from our failures and we can leverage the things that we learn, that's going to take us so much further in life or at work. Don't run away from failure. Take advantage of it, right? Make sure you review them and you learn. Do not run away from failures. Identify what didn't work. Diligently seek out the root cause of the problem. Plan a course correction. Figure out what you can do. Learn and grow from your failures. They should not be regarded as limitations. They should be regarded as capital improvement. And I think if we can get to that point, we'll be in a good way. I remember a very wealthy executive once who had someone in a company who had only been working for him for a short time. And this particular individual made a mistake that cost the company $3 million. And she was so concerned she was going to lose her job. I remember her walking into the executive's office with a box in her hand. And he says, so tell me, why do you have the box? What's up with that? And she says, well, I've already taken an opportunity to pack my things because I think I know what happens next. And he turned to me and says, you think I'm going to fire you? And she says, well, yeah. And he says, why would I fire someone after I paid $3 million for their education? And that's the attitude you got to have, right? You got to look at failure and say, it's not going to limit me. It's not going to change who I am. I'm going to be the person who embraces challenge, who gives their best effort, who learns from feedback, who's inspired by other successes and gets excited. You have to believe that hard work will improve your intelligence and that it's going to get you to the point where you understand a growth mindset. There's also a cognitive recognition that you need to meet in the middle somewhere. What do I mean by that? It's a concept of being pragmatic and practical all at once, right? So with all due respect, I believe that many people struggle with setting pragmatic, achievable goals. There's a huge difference between seeking a challenge and attempting to do the impractical. You've got to get the balance between those two. The goal here, or the goal, no pun intended, is to make sure you focus just a little bit above your level. Don't try to achieve the impossible, but find the right opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone without leading to anxiety. Set a clear path and stay on that path. Achieve continuous improvement and slowly build on your current capabilities. And this will lead you to the ability to achieve without a leave. You won't have as many headaches along the way, and you'll be able to celebrate those successes that you have. And I think that once you get to that point and you start to see those successes, it's going to help you build and just become a really, really pragmatic and practical, growth-minded person. It gets you there. And I think that if you really focus in and learn that a fixed mindset is truly limiting and a growth mindset sets you free, that's when you're going to find that you have the most success. I think the last big key to this is to be consistent and flexible, right? This isn't going to happen overnight. Growth mindsets require lots of practice. Exercise your mind. Practice focusing on growth. Learn from best past behaviors, right? Introspect. Learn from bad past behaviors. Introspect often. Learn from your past experiences. Figure out what you need to do. Be consistent in your decisions. Stand up for what you believe. Ask yourself interview-style questions. Diagnose whether the decision comes from a fixed or a growth mindset. And recognize that every single human on the planet is unique. What works for one person may not work as well for another. Remaining consistent and flexible in your approach helps develop a growth mindset and helps you gain focus on the things that you need to be doing. Starting with promoting a growth mindset. If you're going to promote a growth mindset, here's a list of a few key things that you can do. Number 1, do not praise intelligence. It's just not worth it. Instead, recognize and appreciate process, engagement, strategies, perseverance, and progress. Those are the things that indicate growth. Just because you're smart doesn't mean that you're growing, right? Number 2, do not engage in false praise. There's no such thing in my world as a participation trophy. Amen, brother, right? Disappointment drives us to do better and to find new strategies. But if we're constantly just saying, I'm here for the participation award and being a snowflake about it, we're never going to gain the success and we're never going to be able to accelerate what we do. It's important that we establish that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It's a powerful tool to help others realize their fullest potential. I think that's a strong number 3. And then finally, number 4, encourage the right choice of words. Believing that something is achievable opens all kinds of doors and windows in your mind and allows you to find innovative, creative solutions so that what you're doing can indeed become achievable. One of the techniques that I use to execute this is a concept called GROW, where it incorporates 4 questions. What is your goal? Understanding what your goal is and what direction you're trying to take things definitely yields to achieving success. What's our current reality? Where are we now? And what room do we have for improvements? We need to embrace where we are now and not sugarcoat it. What are our best options or opportunities? We need to learn to be honest and open with all of our options and have open-minded thinking. And finally, what will we commit to do? So the concept of GROW is an acronym. Focus on our goals, the reality, what our options are, and what will we commit to do. And I think that if we can get to the point where we're making commitments and we're sticking to the things that we commit to, it's going to help us really get a better understanding of what we need to do. And just like the start of a race, we can be ready, set, grow. And, I think if we follow the key remarks in this topic, if we go with the presentation, we tell ourselves a different story. We set clear learning goals. We capitalize on failures. We're consistent and flexible, and we learn how to leverage GROW. I think all of those things are going to help us to become a truly innovative disruptor. There's so much more that I could talk about on this topic, and there's so many awesome things that happen. But I hope that you took away something of value, and I realize we're approaching that 15-minute mark, so I certainly don't want to go over our time box. I encourage you to visit agiledad.com where you can learn more about this topic and plenty others. As always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile. Until next time, do take care, my friends.